As leaders navigate the complex landscape of the modern workplace, communication is not just a tool, it's a cornerstone. Yet, many leaders are unsure about what makes communication, whether written, spoken, or visual, effective in a successful organization. All employees must understand the communication process, the value of communication, and how to effectively listen. Simply put, communication is defined as the process by which people convey information to each other so there is mutual understanding. As that is read, the conveying of information is probably no surprise. The mutual understanding part is something that is not usually considered. If a person says something and it is not understood, communication did not actually occur, by definition. So, when talking with a supervisor, coworkers, or employees, you must ensure they understand what you said or what is expected of them. People transmit information for many reasons in the workplace. They have to communicate goals and objectives, information, directions, expectations, changes, etc. In general terms, the purpose of communication is to send messages. This is the process of conveying information or direction to those who need the information. Receive messages. This is where people communicate to you. You must be able to effectively listen to receive messages. Understand messages. Both you and the subject of your communication must be able to understand the message. If not, all parties must be comfortable enough to ask questions or seek clarification. Obtain a favorable response to the message. This is feedback. Favorable does not mean agreement. It only means that there is understanding of the meaning of the message. When communication is effective, there is an understanding and trust between all of the parties involved. There are 4 components necessary for communication to take place. Sender is the person who communicates information. Message is the information being sent. Receiver is the person receiving the message. And feedback is the response to ensure the sender is heard and understood. People communicate using 3 methods that are equally important. Verbal communication is the use of the spoken voice to transmit information. In order for verbal communication to take place, a sender and a receiver are required. The sender chooses the words and tone of voice. Words have meaning, so choose them wisely. The same word can have very different impacts, depending on the tone used. The tone of voice may be as important as the words that are chosen. Nonverbal communication is the process of sending messages through body language or gestures rather than words. Nonverbal communication can be as strong as verbal communication. Care should be taken when reading body language. Body language is not universal. Different cultures send messages in different ways. Care should also be taken regarding the type of body language that you exhibit to others. Lastly, there is written communication which can take several forms. Examples of written communication include a memo, text message, or an email. There is a human factor to communication. As such, opinions and feelings are easily and regularly introduced, even when you are trying to focus on the facts. The 2 levels of communication are objective or content. This level concerns the facts about something that is happening, recalling the details about an incident, or may involve giving instructions. Examples of objective communication include describing an event for a report or asking someone to fill out an inventory document. Subjective or feelings. This level of communication deals with a person's level of emotions or feelings. A person's level of subjective feeling can be sent verbally or non-verbally. A person who crosses their arms while talking or rolling their eyes may be communicating in a subjective manner. When dealing with the levels of communication, pay attention to both verbal and nonverbal behavior to obtain the complete picture. Objective and subjective information must be weighed equally. They are of equal importance to the communication process. An obstacle to communication is any barrier that blocks one person from sending and/or receiving a message. There are 2 types of communication obstacles. Internal obstacles are those within a person, such as attitudes, moods, or ability to concentrate. If a person is distracted or fatigued, he or she cannot communicate effectively. Next is external obstacles, which are those barriers placed by others or by the situation at hand. A bad telephone connection is one example, construction noise is another. If an environmental barrier causes communication difficulty, move to a different location, if possible. And assumptions can also be obstacles to communication. They are psychological or cognitive obstacles where individuals rely on preconceived ideas, stereotypes, or unchecked beliefs rather than verifying information. An example would be assuming that a word has only one meaning. Another would be using acronyms, assuming the receiver knows what they mean. Make sure that the intended meaning of the desired message is the one that is understood. Effective communication is a connection between people that allows for the exchange of thoughts, feelings, and ideas, and leads to mutual understanding. This exchange is realized when a person sends a message to which a listener responds. It seems simple, but it is not. People tend to take the communication process for granted. The communication between two or more people is generally considered no big deal. It just works. However, the reality is very different. The process of communication is actually impressively complex. The 4 principles of effective communication are: confidence. The sender conveys self-confidence to the receiver. The sender is sure of his or her message and their ability to send it effectively. When self-confidence is displayed, it improves the communication process because the receiver develops trust that you know what you are talking about. Creativity. A sender can be effective by listening, observing, and using understandable language in order to overcome any existing communication barriers. Caring. When a sender delivers a message, through words and behavior, that they care about the receiver will respond by wanting to hear the message. And consideration. Many people are in a hurry or simply do not want to take the time to receive a message. When this occurs, the sender must either delay sending the message or convince the receiver that they need to hear it now. No matter how well someone thinks they can communicate, there is always room for improvement. The better a leader can communicate with coworkers, the more effective they will be. Taking the time to improve your communication skills will benefit you. Some considerations for improving communications are: be an active listener. Show interest in what the other person has to say. When the receiver shows that they are interested, the communication process will improve because the other person will be more willing to participate. As a leader, the best way to achieve this is to stop whatever you are doing and focus on the communicator. Recognize rather than deny other people's feelings. Get them to tell what they are feeling. Do not assume you know why they feel the way they do. Through understanding how they are feeling, the better the communication taking place will be. Make sure both tone and body language match the words being used. And be aware of nonverbal communication cues. They will have an effect on the entire interaction. When communicating corrective direction, make sure it is understood that you are following rules and procedures, not just making them up. Some people will reject what you have to say if they do not believe what is being said. When it is company policy related, it is important to make sure that you are accurate. And be clear and concise in all of your directions. Clear is using terms that are easily understood. Being concise is not adding in unnecessary words or examples that may delay understanding what you are trying to say. Listening skills are vital, especially for a leader. Listening means hearing and observing both verbal and nonverbal language. Quite often, listening is more important than talking. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is the passive, involuntary physical process of perceiving sound through the ears, while listening is an active, voluntary mental process requiring focus, interpretation, and understanding. The following are some ways to improve listening skills. Be interested in what is heard. If the receiver acts uninterested in what others have to say, the sender will lose interest in communicating. Overlook distracting things about the way the message is being delivered. If someone has a lisp, a stutter, or accent, do not let it interfere with listening to what they have to say. Stay relaxed. Even if provoked, stay calm. If you do not, it will interfere with your ability to receive the message. Try to get the whole message, not just the facts. Try to understand what the person is really trying to impart on you. Pay attention. If you are listening, then listen. Take the time to stop what you are doing and focus on the person. And don't be focused on the response, as many people will find it difficult to think and listen at the same time. Do not allow others to interrupt or create distractions. If there is too much noise in an area, try to move to a quieter area. Do not become insulted. Many people use language you may not like. Try to ignore the objectionable language and receive the message. And clarify the message. If unsure what they are trying to say, ask the person to repeat the message. Then repeat back to him or her what you think they said to ensure you understand. Email has become one of the more dominant forms of communication within the work environment. Millions and millions of work emails are sent on a daily basis. Email communication can be defined as the exchange of short informational messages between at least two people over a computer network. These messages contain plain text, images, or document attachments that are delivered through email web-based services. To be an effective communicator, it is important to know how to communicate through email in order to effectively transfer information to individuals or to a group. Emails are a reflection of you. And it is important to remember that emails are forever, and once they are sent, you no longer control where they go from there or how they will be used. Here are some pointers for email communication. Decide on the purpose. The first question is whether an email is the right method for the information you are looking to transfer. For emergency or time-sensitive information, email may not be the right method. Determine the style. The style is oftentimes determined by who it is being sent to and their expectations. Some emails are formal, or others may be casual. It would not be appropriate to send an informal style to an important client. Likewise, there may be no need in sending a formal email to a peer. Write a clear subject line. Quite often the subject line will determine whether someone reads the email or puts it off to later. Within a few words, it is imperative to show the importance of the content to the receiver. Provide the answer to what is in it for me. And format properly. The email is a reflection of you. The formatting of an email can demonstrate that you are a professional. It can also make the email content easier to read. It is also important to put the bottom line up front or bluff followed by the supporting information. Here are some more pointers to consider for email communication. Proofread. Again, the email is a reflection of you. Misspelled words or poor grammar will distract the reader from the content. Take the time to proofread before hitting send. Another quick pointer on this topic, if you say there is an attachment to the email, ensure you actually attach the document before hitting send. Understanding. 2. Carbon copy and blind carbon copy. The personnel listed in the to line are typically actionable to the content. Oftentimes this means you expect a response. The carbon copy line is used to share the information with personnel who should be aware of it, but are not directly responsible for action items. The names listed in the blind carbon copy or BCC line will receive the email, but no one else who reads the email will see that they were included on it. BCC should be used judiciously because hiding recipients could be viewed as malicious or underhanded. And emotional emails. It is vital that you never send emotional emails. If you write an emotional email, it is a good idea to walk away for a bit and then come back and read it again before hitting send. Once you hit that send button, there may not be an opportunity to take it back. And you will not control where that email goes from there or how it will be used. Reports are a presentation of information that provides value to the reader. They are often analytical or involve the rational analysis of information. Sometimes they simply report the facts with no analysis at all, but still need to convey the information in a clear and concise format. Other reports summarize past events, present current data, and forecast future trends. In this way, a report is a formal communication written for a specific purpose. It includes a description of events or situations, followed by collection and analysis of data, their significance, the conclusions drawn from them, and recommendations, if required. A written report generally has 3 components: the introduction, body, and conclusion. Another way this is described is by telling them what you are about to tell them. Then you tell them. And then tell them what you just told them. The introduction is usually the first paragraph of a report. Sometimes, it may be more than one paragraph. The introduction must obtain the reader's attention by showing how it applies to them. The body provides the content of the report. It should include the main idea or ideas and the supporting information. For some reports, pictures, charts, and graphs help convey information that words cannot as effectively. And the conclusion wraps up the report. It provides a summary of the body of the report and emphasizes any significant points. The conclusion might also include recommendations or suggested actions. Another component that may be required for some reports is an executive summary. An executive summary is a short overview of a longer report, business plan, or proposal. The key parts include the problem, the main issue or need your project targets, the solution, your clear goal or fix for the issue, the plan, a brief look at the steps or methods used, the results, major findings, data points, or financial facts, and the request, what you need next, like approval or funding. And here are some quick executive summary rules. Keep it short, usually about 5% to 10% of the main document, or 1 to 2 pages max. Write it so a person can read it all by itself and understand what's in the main report. And do not write it after you finish the full report so you have all the facts available to include. Filling out documentation is another method of written communication. When completing documents, such as forms, it is important to fill in the information legibly and completely to ensure that the communication process is successful. It is also important to use the correct words, the words that the reader will understand. It may be valuable to have a working copy of the form. Sometimes information is collected over a period of time, or changes may occur that require cross-outs. This may make it hard to read or use in the future. And, once all of the information is obtained, transfer it onto a clean copy of the form. Communication is important in leadership because it aligns teams with a shared vision, builds trust, and drives productivity. Without clear messaging, groups struggle with confusion, low morale, and unaligned goals. We hope you found this training video valuable. Please give us a like and click the subscribe button to access additional FSTG training videos.